Very good afternoon to everybody. Welcome along to the Uniform webinar. My name is Kath Smith. I'm going to be going through medicines today and hope you'll all find it useful and informative. I'm just going to kill that off now. There we go. So enough of me, but you're very welcome. If this is your first webinar, very pleased to see you. Just a few shout outs then. We've got Ben, hello, Brian, Harry, Hazel, Jeanette, Mandy, Peter, and Wendy. So welcome along. There's a few more of you as well. I can't say hello to everybody. Now, without further ado, let's get on to the case in point. Just a few sort of housekeeping bits and pieces to start with. We have a control panel on the right hand side of your screen, which allows you to type in a question. So you can do this at any time during the presentation. What we normally do is leave them till the very end. So I will come to all the questions and can go through them and discuss them with you absolutely fine. The other alternative to that is to actually raise your hand. So there's a little hand button on your control panel. The idea there is that stays lit up again till the end, and then I can come to you. You can even ask your question directly. We can open up the audio line as well. So either way, feel free to get involved there. Now, I've got a little poll here for you, just out of interest to see how you heard about this webinar initially. So hopefully you can see on your screen now a choice in terms of where you first heard about it. We did send a direct email to all Uniform Pro users, so anybody that has Uniform through NMR. Just curious on the social media as well, whether the word is getting out there through that. So if you wouldn't mind just pressing the button, that would be absolutely brilliant. I'll just leave that open for a little minute. We've got 69% of you voting. It's coming up all the time. That's marvellous. Just out of interest, it's looking like email is the way ahead here. So that's excellent. And I will share those results with you. There we go. You can see the results there, 88% by email. That's fantastic. So we will know to notify you of events such as this in the future that way. That's excellent. Thank you very much for that. Right, so enough of the intros. Let's get on to the program. So what I've got here is Uniform, all familiar to you, I'm sure. I've got the demo herd that we use for demos and presentations such as this. So this is a real live herd that have been using Uniform for a number of years. So lots of it's filled in already, which is great. So our primary subject today is medicines. There will be a couple of other bits and pieces relating to recording as well. But it's just to find your way around really, how to put medicines in, how to treat a cow, and how to make best use of the facilities that are available, such as treatment plans. So firstly, we go to the cow head. As with all things, let's find our menu, and we want to go to health and treatments, which is number 4. And once you're doing this route through the program, you can actually make a note of the numbers in terms of where you need to find certain things. So you can see here we've got 4 in the management page, health and treatments, and then we've got our purchase medicines, which is the first port of call. Now I can right click on there. So this is somewhere you're going to use again and again. Add to toolbar, and that pops it at the top on my toolbar across here. So you can customize your own Uniform to any shortcuts, any favorite reports that you come across, you think I'm going to use that again. You can even go on to 2 rows. So if there's lots of different pieces that you want just to select from the top, saves you having to go find them again next time. So now I can click on my little shortcut and we're into the purchase medicines. Now it might be you then want to come out of there and go back a step. You don't have to start again with the cow head. You can just go to health and treatments here, and that'll take you back to the health menu. Okay, so I've got it open still. So we're here with purchases. If you've not used this before, obviously this will be a blank screen, but don't be put off. It's nice and easy to fill in your purchases, and it really makes sense to utilize that fully with Uniform so that the drugs are available to use and pick up really easily when treating cows. So we click on the purchase button, and then we go to medicine. Now this bit, again, from a new user perspective, this won't be a blank screen, so you will see similar drugs to this list here. So the program comes with a load of drugs already in, good to go. Most of the well-known ones will be on there for you. If you can't see the drug you're looking for, and you've got to search as well, there's a new button here, the plus button. So wherever you see that in the program, you can just add new, whether it's a new medicine at the time, a new service sire, or a new administrator, that kind of thing. Anything like that, just add as you go, absolutely fine. So we're going to use Cabactan today. Click OK. You'll see the milk withdrawal and meat withdrawal days are built in as well. Purchase date as of today. We need a batch number in here and an expiry date. So just in case of going ahead till you get to your date in the future. Open date is optional. That's when you open the box. The number of tubes purchased and your supplier. And again, if you're doing this from new, you may not have your supplier built in yet, so usually it's your vet. But of course, at this stage, the beauty of it is you can just add it new from here. So you haven't got to think, oh, what have I got to set up first before I start? You just plow straight on and go for it. Vet company, there we go. Okay, and then okay again to save. Now you can see then at the top of my purchases, I've got my new drugs in ready to go. Okay. At any time, you can make an adjustment. So if you find you need to do a stock take and certain things have changed, a bottle may have been dropped, for example, or some things just generally run out, you can actually say in here what you've got rid of, how much of it, whether it's broken, expired, or whatever. So it's all very flexible from that point of view. I've got my drugs in stock now, so I can treat a cow with them. I'll leave that open for now in case we need to look at it again, but we can go back to our cow head and we can go to daily tasks and daily events. So this is 1.1, very straightforward. And again, I've got my shortcut already set up here to add in an event. You can do treatments through the animal record equally. I'll just show you that one quickly. I do find treatments works better on the daily events, to be honest, but there's nothing to stop you with the health and treatment section. You go to new here, you could do a new health condition or a new treatment on that one. So that's perfectly possible. So the example today, as I say, I'm going to do the daily events. So we choose our cow and we choose what's going to happen to her. So my example today will be a mastitis case. So this comes under health event, as do most things. So anything that you're treating a cow with, choose health event, and then you'll go on to describe what exactly happened to her later on. So as of today's date, just a little tip here, if you buy in the drug today, you would then want to treat today onwards. So if your purchase date was last week and actually you're backfilling a little bit, just make sure your purchase date ties in with when you want to treat the cow. All things considered, it should be fairly logical anyway. So we've got our date. We now need to go across to here to the value, and this is where it gets a bit tricky because my control panel is right in the way. Just bear with me a minute. There we go. And then I click on the little 3 dotted button to go into the detail. Okay. So what's happened to this cow? Let's click on here. So we've got, you'll see there's some random options here. Now with yours, it might well start off as a complete list. There is an all items tick, but Uniform very cleverly recognizes what you're using most frequently. So those are the ones at the top now, but you can always search. So if I want to be a bit more specific with my mastitis type, I can click in mastitis. If I click all, should I do that again? There we go. I've got all the different types of mastitis that could possibly happen to this cow, with the option again to add new. So it might well be some new type that you want to put in. We'll go with chronic for now. We then specify our quarter, and you can do more than one, of course. Point to note here, individual check date. This isn't vital to use, but if you have maybe a really bad case of mastitis, this cow needs checking out later on by the vet, or some other condition, you can actually specify an individual check date here on the calendar for a future date, and then she'll appear on the vet list. So just a tip there, but for standard mastitis, you may not need to use that facility. Okay, we go to next. And then we add treatment. We go to next again. And then we've got a list of all the treatment types. So these are very much categories of treatment. You see, we've got things like antibiotics, we've got mastitis tube, which would fit this very well at the moment. And again, it's a summary, so there are more items to choose from. Equally, it might be you need a new treatment type, but most of the main ones have been built into the program anyway. So that's our treatment type. We haven't specified which medicine yet, that will come. And then administrator, who treated the cow. Okay. We go to next again. Now we've got our medicine. Medicine from own stock is ticked by default. So again, if you're buying in the drugs first, it makes everything much easier to find. Here's my list of drugs, so I can choose Cobactan. Okay. And then it asks me which batch did I use. So there's my previous stock and the one that I've just purchased. So I'm going to use that one today. I've got one tube here as of today, and the milk withdrawal's built in already. We go to next again. And depending on what she's had, that could be the end of the matter. She's just had that one tube job finished. However, you've got the option at this point to repeat treatment on the next day. So if I choose this one, I then go to next. You can see at the top, it's now building a plan of what's going to happen. So one tube today, one tube tomorrow. You can carry on then going like that until she's had the whole course. So you've filled in all the data, and that will then populate the cow's record and take the medicine off the stock, when it reaches that particular day. Okay, so we'll just go with those two for now. We'll finish, and it just confirms your milk and meat withdrawal. Okay, so now we know cow number 2, health event as of today is done. We've got a green tick on the end to confirm it's finished. Now you can see by doing that process, it can be a little bit long-winded, but there is a much quicker way using the same method with what's called treatment plans. And very quickly you can whiz past a couple of screens. In fact, it doesn't even come up. So it makes your particularly mastitis cases where there's a course of treatment, or for things like drying off where you might use multiple drugs, it makes life a lot simpler. So before I go on to that, let's just see what this has done. So as a result of entering it on this cow, I can go to the animal record and we search for cow number 2, health and treatments. There's my mastitis case and the associated treatment with it. So today and tomorrow, batch numbers all in, very tidy. At this point, if you need to make a change, we can go to Cobactam, for example, and edit. It might be you picked the wrong batch number out, or she had the wrong amount of tubes that day. Whatever it happens to be, you can make changes on the animal itself. You can also delete if you needed to start again, that's fine. Equally, you could delete the mastitis case and start from scratch. So anything that you put in can be changed. We know it's now on the cow record. We also have in the cow, if we go back to the dashboard to start with, if you didn't have any before, you would now have a new box showing milk withdrawal. So we can click on here and you can then see there's cow number 2. So she's now in milk withdrawal and will stay on that report until she's clean. So it's a really useful list. Further to that, we also have our medicine usage report. So again, cow head, health and treatments, number 6 this time. So equally, you could save that as a shortcut. And that will build up a list of everything that you've treated on farm in a given year. So we go, cow number 2, that's in date order. Incidentally, any list on uniform, you just click on the heading to sort numerically. And that will give you an idea of any repeat cases as well, or any other illnesses for each cow. You can also change the time frame. So in the properties button in the bottom right, we can choose our start and end date. So if you need 2 years worth, 6 months, whatever, you can alter it that way. Print preview also, every single report has a print preview, bottom right corner. So that'll give you an idea of what it looks like as a printed view, with the option to email it to somebody if you need to. That will light up in any second now. As you can see, it's drawing lots of pages, so I've got 57 pages worth. I've got quite a big herd here. So that's just loading in. There we go. So I can email that if I need to, or I can save it into Excel. Let's close that one. Okay. So you can see as I've gone through, we've left some screens open, which is perfectly fine. We might need to use them again, so we'll leave those as they are. Now, treatment plans are in, I've got a shortcut already for this one, I've just noticed, but let me show you where they are. Cowhead, number 1, daily tasks. Number 14, action scheduler. And then number 1 again, treatment plan. So we're looking at 1.14.1. Best plan, right click, add to your toolbar, and then you've got it up here for future use. Okay. So here we've got some really nice examples of treatment plans. They take a bit of setting up, and by all means, absolutely give us a ring and we can set them up with you. No problem at all on that one. It just means, as I say, for entering data for medicines, it really makes it much more speedy and accurate, really. So I'm not going to put in a brand new plan, but I'm just going to show you some of the examples on here, and then you'll soon get the gist. So, for example, we've got mastitis here, and you can expand or open up the actual plan. So for this one, we have day 0 is the first day of treatment. Our treatment type is antibiotic. We're going to give the cow 1 tube of Cobactam, 10 mils of Dufotrim. The next day she'll have Cobactam again, and on the 3rd day again. So you can see if you did that by hand manually, we've got that repeat treatment mechanism as you saw just now. But if you key it all into here once, if a cow covers that particular routine, then all you're doing is pressing 1 button at the end of the day. So that's a mastitis example. We've also got things like drying off. So you can see here we've got 4 tubes of Orbisil and 4 tubes of Kepravin as a typical dry off. You can have as many plans as you like, so don't be limited. You can have just Orbisil only. You could have one with Rotovec. You know, some cows are treated, some aren't. So possibilities are endless, really. And I would encourage you to use this absolutely. You can see we've got one for retained cleansing, there's pneumonia. So your calf records you can pop on here as well. Now, there's one main difference between a drying off and a mastitis. If I go into the mastitis one, first page is the same. It's just a description of what you're going to be treating for. Sometimes the drug names themselves go into there. So with mastitis, you always choose health event. Go to next, and then you set up your plan. This is the important bit, health event. What are you going to be using this plan for? So in here, make sure you tick all of the types of mastitis where you would use this particular treatment course of action for. So you can see here we've got acute and clinical ticked. It might be that chronic has another plan all by itself, but if in doubt, just tick all of the ones that apply. As before, you can search for mastitis, so you've got every single case included, and then just tick everything and OK. So that means when it comes to treating a cow, the first thing it asks you is the health condition. If I now choose whichever one I pick, chronic, it will come up with that treatment plan. If it's not on here and you choose the other type of mastitis, then you won't be able to use that plan with that type of condition. Okay, so simple tip, just to tick them all, that'll be absolutely fine. Then to set this bit up, you just click on the plus button and follow the boxes all the way along. Okay, I must admit, normally we have, sorry, my control panel's in the way again, from own stock. As a rule, that's actually ticked if you're using the drugs from your own stock cupboard, and also application method, so things like intramammary would be picked here. Okay, so you can follow this through. You can repeat next day, so that'll just replicate the line above, nice and easy. You can take bits out if you need to, and you can go on, you know, for as long as that course is maintained. The drying off ones, so here we've got drying off Orbisil only, very similar in principle. First screen, exactly the same. This time you're confirming it as a treatment, so it's not associated with a health event, it's a treatment for a drying off. Okay, and then your treatment is the treatment type. So if I just go into here, so usually this will just be one or the other. In this case, we've got Orbisil only. On the main sort of templates for uniform, we've got dry cow therapy as an option, and we've also got teat sealant, which I can't actually see here. That's probably because it's not. No, that's not the one. Cancel that. But yeah, teat sealant would be the appropriate one to use for Orbisil or Kepraloc, that kind of thing. Okay, and then very similar. We add new. we put in our treatment type. So again, you're replicating what's up there, the medicine name, the number of tubes total, application method, and from own stock again would be ticked normally. It might be you get the odd 3/4 cow, absolutely. So you could use the plan and then just go into the cow record and adjust. So just take off that last tube, make it 3 instead of 4. Or you could just not follow the plan that time and just do you know, a manual process. So either way, you can cater for those as well. Okay, and then you can see we've got all manner of different you know, health conditions that you would treat for. So the more the better, really, for those sorts of things. Again, just watch for your date of entry. So when you set it up, from that point onwards, it's available to use. It's caught me out a couple of times where I've then gone back to last week's data to try and put in the plan, just won't find it. So just make sure your date of entry is before you want to use it, as it would be in most cases. Okay, then we've got our plans available to use. So we can close out of here, back to our daily events. I'll choose another cow this time. So most of it's the same. Health event again, as of today. Across to the right-hand side. Choose our health condition. I'm going to go with chronic this time. Which quarter? And then you can see straight away, add treatment plan. Our plan is available. If you've got more than one plan for that particular type of condition, they'll obviously be listed here. So choose whichever one is appropriate. We go to next. And it will then tell you what it's going to do, which is really reassuring. So today we've got Cobactad and due for trim. These two aren't ticked because they're happening in the future, but they will slot in by themselves. So you haven't got to worry. It's all catered for, done, finished. That's your whole course of treatment. If we finish that one and okay. Now, depending on the setup, sometimes at that point it will ask you to confirm the batch numbers if it's from own stock. Remember, I mentioned that one as well. So if you tick from own stock in most cases, then it will just confirm which batch numbers you need to use. If you've run out at that point, you've got the option to sort of purchase in the drug as well at that stage. So you can just carry on and fill it in. Okay, so that has the same effect as any treatment that you've just done. That cow is now on my medicine book. She's also on the milk withdrawal, etc., etc. And all of her, you know, course of medicine is done. So that's great. Okay, so those are the main medicine bits, really. Now, in terms of information out, we can again go back to the cow head. Number 4 again, health and treatments, and we've got mastitis analysis here, number 5. So over time, you'll be able to see how many mastitis cases you've had per month, or by days since calving, or by lactation number, whatever you want to choose there. Plus the number of cases at the bottom here. Just a point to note, these percentages, some of them might look quite high, they are percentages of the cases of mastitis, not percentages of the herd. Okay, so it gives you a proportion of where the mastitis cases are occurring. We then have the grid, which will list the individual cows that have had the mastitis in that time, the type, the quarter affected, and what medicines you treated them with. This area is quite important for any milk recorders listening in. Hello and welcome along to you too. If you've got a herd that isn't on a live link, so you're just grabbing the data as a standard export, which I will come on to, this is where you need to come in to get your lists of mastitis cases, and the same for lameness, which I'll show you as well. So 4.5 is the mastitis analysis. I'll just go back to here. That's what you see on opening. Click on the grid button and you've got the individual cows. If they're in line number order, just click on the date. Might need to do it a couple of times. There we go, descending, and then you can see the most recent cases here. And if you need to print it off, absolutely print preview again. Farmers, what would really help your recorders for this information is if you could maybe save the mastitis analysis at the top here as well, just so they can find it equally. So again, we can go back to our health and treatments, right click, add to toolbar, and stick it up there. The lameness one is in 4.11. looks very similar. Now this one is blank. I haven't got any lameness data, sorry, on my demo herd, but it will look exactly the same in principle. The grid will give you the types of lameness as well. Okay, so I hope that helps. I'm moving on to a bit of sort of NMR stuff now. I hope that's okay. But just a few things. I asked our software support guys, you know, what are your main queries that come up? So I thought it would make sense to go through them with you now. That was one of them, how to get mastitis and lameness cases off the program. So that relates to anybody, as I just said, really not on the live link. You will know if you're on it or not, or at least you should do. There's a little indicator actually in the dashboard. We have an external links box here. So this is relevant for recorders as well. In case you're wondering, is this heard on the live link, which runs a routine every day to send the data through in real time? Got no messages to send and it's never been sent. So this one isn't set up. But if you've got a little red marker on here with a date on here, then yes, it has been set up at some stage. So mastitis and lameness will come through on that live link. But if there's no link there at all, then you need to go to your Mastitis Analysis list. Okay. The other bit then to do with recording again is actually exporting the data. I'll just run through that briefly with you. So cowhead again. This time we go to number 12, links. And we've got an export to NMR. So again, this would really help your recorder if you could just pop that onto your toolbar. There we go, and they just grab all these reports from them. I know there's a mixed bag out there. Some farmers prepare this for the recorder, pop it onto a memory stick, job done, which is brilliant, and others, the recorder comes in and helps themselves. So whichever way around you do it, you know, that'll be useful for everybody to be up there anyway. So our export to NMR. Now this has two different routes depending if you're linking to a parlor or a robot. So if you're expecting yields to come through, we've got milk meter. If it's just the event data only, you're not linking to anything milk-wise, then it's none. So using the none example, we've got the last milk recording date here. There's just a point to note, which in theory shouldn't apply to any of you if you've had uniform now, but the very first, certainly for recorders it's important, the very first time you run this export, so on a brand new uniform, choose option 1, use only at first export after the database has been populated. Thereafter, you choose enter date, and then just check this date is as of the last recording, which it should be. Go on to the next screen, and then it's basically saying, right, where do you want to save it? So at this point, whoever's doing it, you could pop it onto a memory stick there, or the desktop, or even send by email, whatever you've arranged with your recorder, absolutely fine. Just going back, if I choose milk meter, this logic still applies. Next, retrieve data if the link hasn't been run. I can go through that with you if you need to. Choose your groups of cows. Next, and then just check the bit recording start and end times and the milking times, which should all be fine anyway. Next again, and then where you're going to save the file. If I run this now, actually, oh, we haven't got an existing folder. That might help. Let's pop it just straight on my desktop then. There we go, that's better. So you'll see this type of routine being run through. Green ticks are all good. Just have a look out for any warning signs. Now these one, animal number is too long, that's absolutely fine. It's a 6-digit line number, doesn't come across to NMR, so we don't need to worry about those unless you're expecting beef animals or whatever to come through. But what you can do is just check this out while it's, or as it's run. If I close this screen now, I've lost that information, but if you do need to check something here, it will give you a reason why it can't send some information. Then have a look at this point, and you'll see the data is now saved on my desktop. Uni2. Now this one's called Thor.dii. That's because I'm on version 5.4, which is coming out very shortly. Any previous versions, it will say Uni2 Sab. So either or is fine, and then that can go into our Thor program. Okay, that's perfect. Right, so I will certainly come to questions at the end. I can see there's a couple of them on the system now. Just to finish off then with sires. So in an effort to make our data as good as it possibly can be, we've introduced a little tool to help you with your sires. So in the service bulls, when we go to the bull record, and actually you can do this as you're entering a service, if you can't find the bull you're looking for, it's a brand new sire, you click on the plus button and it will take you into this screen here. So this is the bull record of all the bulls that are on the system at the moment. Normally you'll see a name on here. This is just because it's the demo herd. It just shows up as an AI code. If I click on new, so you could add your bull through this route, or as I say, if you're halfway through doing a service, you get to new sire, you'll come up with this exact screen. Please, please, please do use this NMR bull search facility. Allow me to demonstrate. So if I look for a particular bull, I just type his name in. Partial matches work as well. This goes straight to the NMR database and shows me all the toy stories that are listed on our system. So hopefully it will allow you to pinpoint your exact bull. And if you haven't got his AI code to hand, as long as you know his name, you know, we can be really assured, yep, this is the one, Jenny Lou Marshall Toy Story. I click OK, that's the bull I need. And it's put in everything we need. It's got the AI code in there, the name, the long name. Most importantly, under other, it's put in the breed for us. And that's it done. OK. Got him already, bother. Anyway, you get the gist. It's added it to our records, so that bull now, all the data relating to those services for that sire will be correct. So data will be brilliant. The PDs following will all tie in nicely as well, which is really important. So NMR bull search, any new sires coming in, please do use that tool. Right, I'm going to close these up. I'll leave some of them open just in case we've got a query. Let me go back to the dashboard and I will certainly come to any questions now. Right, just bear with me. Right, question from Marcus. How do I tidy up medicine stocks with some that have been used up but still appear on the list? Okay, it might be they were perhaps minus to start with. So, sorry, this is where it gets a bit tricky. I've got another pane open. Back into our stocks, really, number 8. So if you can see them in here, like we've got some examples, stock start was actually minus. You should be able to just double click on it. No, you can't, you've got to adjust, beg pardon. Click on the adjustment and actually put in the amount that you want to get rid of on there. Have a try with that one, Marcus, see if that works. If not, you know, give the help desk a ring and they can fine tune it a bit for you. Okay, question from Harry. How do you combine multiple treatments with different regimes? Gosh, you've done a lot of typing here, Harry, well done. For example, mastitis, 2 tubes a day for 2 days, Sinulox for 3 days, and Metacam for only the first day without having to create a new treatment for each. Absolutely. In the treatment plan then, that would be absolutely fine. So we would go back to our treatment plans. So our example is quite close to what you're asking, I think. So here you can see on the first day we've got Cobactam and Dufotrim. So it might be you had, using your example, you'd have 2 tubes on that day and then you'd have another line 2 tubes on the next day. Sinulox could start at any time, so it might be Sinulox kicks in on the 3rd day, in which you just have day 2 here. And just build it into your plan exactly how you want to treat. So you can have more than one thing on one day, as you can see here, and you can go on for several days, and whichever drugs apply can kick in at any time. Okay, so again, give us a shout to set that up for you. Very sorry, Joanne, lost your sound. Hope it came back for you. Right, question from Brenda. Hello, Brenda. I have a customer who uses sex semen and the same bull normal semen. Right, so for this one, this is down to the customer really to identify it as such. So in our bull record, we go into here. Actually, I'm just thinking if it's on the bull record or not. I'm not sure it is. But certainly it will be identifiable when you do the service. No, so what they'll need to do is doing the service itself. If I go back to daily events, I'll just do one for you now quickly. So we serve a cow, come across to here. Yeah, pregnant, that's fine. Right, so we choose our sire. So whether it's conventional or not, it's the same bull, that's fine. The crucial bit is here, gender sorted semen normal. So that's for your conventional bull. However, we've got sorted female for a sex semen female on there. Okay, quantity 1, comment there. Now it might come to Thor the same, so we can actually get a list on the uniform program. I'll email you directly, Brenda, how we can do that, and then you'll be able to see which ones are sexed and which ones aren't. So leave that with me, okay? But by doing that, we can do it for you. Okay, sorry if you're having trouble with sound. As far as I know, it's okay this end. Let me just rejig my headset a minute. Sorry, I'm having trouble with me sound. There we go. Hopefully that's okay. If Claire could confirm, that would be brilliant. Yeah, treatment plans imported from another uniform. So if your vet's using uniform with a treatment plan, you can import it then through this. It'll pick up an export file, but it is specifically that data format rather than from Excel. Okay. But actually, well, yeah, it depends how many plans you've got, but it's not too bad a job to key them in. Right, taking medicine from 2 separate bottles. Thank you, Mary. Right, so what you'll need to do with that one is, let me see, in our daily events, you might need to choose the drug and then go back in and add another treatment on it. So it may not work with a treatment plan. It will actually pick out the batches that you've got available anyway. I think, you know, if you've got only 5 ml left of a particular one, you can use that, and then the rest would be from the second one. So that certainly should be working now if they're all in stock currently. Okay. And your next question, we're behind with data entry. Can we backdate? You certainly can. It just depends on things like treatment plans, as I say, if they've been set up from a point in time going forwards, you may not be able to backdate those. But on the whole, yes, you can backdate. Expiry dates, yeah, just depends on those. If they've expired already, I guess you might have a particular problem with that. Okay, but give us a ring if there's any particular data issues on the thing. That's probably the best bet. Right, welcome along, Phil. How can you differentiate between a normal service or a synchronized? So I can see conception rates differ. Absolutely, good one. So in our fertility, section 3, we go to number 11, KPIs. And we look at conception rate. Now, I may not have any data for this particular one, but in here, you group by, right at the bottom, we've got estrus signs. So say this one may be blank, yes. But if you've keyed it in, so there's a particular setting when you're putting in a service, there's an extra box, and you can get to it from the general settings page to say register estrus signs. What it will do then, when you do a service, it will say, how was this heat detected? Was it an activity system? Was it a chalk mark? Whatever it happens to be. And then by putting in that extra information, you'll have those all listed here to then analyze, you know, conception rate success by synchronized versus normal. So you can create your own comments for those as well. Okay, hope that helps. Love these questions coming in. Thank you. Hello, Michael, also known as Heather, possibly. Can I scan a barcode on a medicine label? Not at the moment, but it may well come in the future as barcodes take off a bit more. I think Uniform are working on some bits with that, but at the moment it's all keying in by hand, I'm afraid. Okay, right, next one. Can we import our medicine list from the vets? Oh yeah, same sort of thing then as the export, really. Large list of drugs you purchase. Let me just check. I don't think you can, but I'm just going to see if there's an import option on that one. I have a feeling there isn't. No, so purchase-wise, I'm afraid we are stuck with doing it manually. Sorry, I've got screens open galore here. Right. Yeah, so sorry, at the moment, again, it might come in time. The good thing with Uniform, things are always evolving as technology changes. They're always looking at ways of improving things. I must come to the hands now. We've had a hand up for a very long time. I do apologise. Let me just see who that is. That's Alfred. I'm going to open up your line, Alfred. Alfred Hartley, can you hear me? No? Okay, if you can and I just can't hear you, then yeah, I'll come on to you afterwards and we can ask your question later on. Okay, right, just going back to the questions now. I'll just check my hands again. Right, so unless anybody else wants to raise their hand, that looks to be all the questions. Thank you so much. Oh, got one from Joanne. Hold on. Hi, Joanne. Can you hear me? No, sorry. It might be a problem with the sound here. I'm not getting anybody's voice. If you want to quickly type a question, Joanne, that would be absolutely fine. Joanne Dodd. Oh, hang on. Are you there? Joanne? No, just getting a load of clicks there. I hope you all heard me okay anyway. Final question from Mary. Absolutely. What number can we call for help? Indeed. Now, there is, let me just go back to my presentation a second. Oh, a combination of things here. Firstly, we will keep these recordings on the NMR website, so do have a look at nmr.co.uk software at the top there. Go to training and webinars, and the video will be there. Anybody that attends or registers, even if you can't attend, we always send a link of the video straight afterwards. So in about an hour's time, it'll all be sent to you. Those are directly on the website. They don't disappear either. We keep them forever, so you can always access the video. In terms of asking for help, please do, absolutely. There's a few bits on there. I'm on Twitter if you ever want to contact me through that. The main phone number for anything uniform wise through NMR is here. So this is the main NMR telephone number. I'll just leave that on the screen for a minute while I just check through the questions. I've had some more come through. Oh, I see, Joanne, that's absolutely fine, don't worry. Right, question from Heather, listening. How do I batch all cows treated? Right, so batch entry, I didn't cover that actually. It's a very good point. Yeah, so the other number I just want to mention, actually, you can see there's a number down here in the bottom left corner of your uniform. If you do ring that, that's Uniform Agri, which is absolutely fine. I mean, it's there in front of you the whole time, so it's quite handy to think, who do I call? Oh, there it is. But either or, you know, NMR Help Desk or Uniform themselves, they'd be very happy to hear from you. Okay, and that goes for recorders, farmers, you know, anybody involved with Uniform. Absolutely fine. Right, sorry, I was going to do batch entry, wasn't I? So in the daily events, which I have open already, we've got our individual cows, which I've gone through here. There's a batch entry tool on this one where you can do batches of anything, really, pretty much. We can do batch PDs, we can do batch dries. We've got the health batch entry as well. So particularly for medicines, it might be that you're looking to do a vaccine. We've got health event or treatment. So it depends what you're doing, really. But yeah, there's lots of different options in here. Start a vaccination program, and then you just follow the routine through. Whichever animals you want to select, you can then tick them and go on much the same way as an individual, but obviously based on a particular set of cows. So that's the batch entry tool there. Incidentally, the app also would allow you to do batch entries just the same, and individual cow treatments. You do just need drugs bought in on the main program before you can use them on the app. Okay, great. Right, next question from Wendy. Can you show activity graphs on the program you have? Now that depends on where the activity is coming from. So for this example, we have, well, have we? No, we haven't got it on here. If you have activity coming through from a parlor system or a robot, it depends on the one, as I say, but you'll get another box come up here on the dashboard with activity. Usually it's quite basic, so it will just show you these are the high activity cows as a list. So you may need to drill down a bit further in the existing software. So yeah, it depends on what link you've got, but certainly things like C21, Dairy Plan, that'll bring across the activity, as will I think Delpro as well. So there's a few others. That's not an exhaustive list, but again, give us a ring with your particular details and we can confirm what does and what doesn't come across. Okay. Scanning barcodes on uniform via the app. Right, fine. That's news to me, but that's absolutely fine. Rachel, thank you for that. I'll look into that and I'll let people know what we can do with barcodes. So it's obviously moved on a bit further than I realised. Thank you. Right, adjust the font size for the printer. Alfred, I take it that was your question I was trying to get through before. Yeah, so we've got up here page settings under the program settings. Default font size 8. So if you want to go a bit larger, absolutely fine. Click on there. Depending on the screen settings, if you've got quite a small screen, it might look a bit cluttered, but certainly that would change your printing, or your on screen, sorry. In terms of printing, if we go to a particular list, and then we go to print preview, so I think the font settings might be the same. I don't see a font one on here, no. So that's based on that general setting as well. So that will control all your printing there, email and page. I'll just check the printer one. That's just the type of printer, yeah. Okay, so hopefully that answers that one for you. Right, another question from Phil. On a treatment plan, can you change the quantity of an injectable depending on the cow's weight? I don't think you can, because although we would have cow weights on there, we can't sort of correspond them to the individuals. So it would have to be, yeah, maybe a plan for, depending on the sort of ranges, I suppose. You may need a few different plans for each weight range. But yeah, that's a little bit tricky, that one. Cost of products from your vet. Again, we can't import it, but you can fill in how much each drug costs when you buy it in, absolutely. So you can put it into the purchase details. That's done on the medicine list. So if I go back to my starting point, daily tasks this time, medicine list number 8. On here, you've got your original settings for milk and meat, and then a price per unit. So you could build that in and then change it as often as it changes. So that will come through once you treat the cows. Organic milk meat withdrawal. Very good question, Jeanette. Thank you. Yes, you can. Now, that one is a little bit individual in that it won't work with a treatment plan. So what you would do, going through our individual example again. So I've opened a million things now, haven't I? Right, so with the individual cow, hold on, I just need to close some stuff to get out of the way. Oh yeah, I was halfway through doing the service, wasn't I? Right, let's do that one. So, cow number 1 again, we do a health event. So everything else much the same so far. Type of condition. Okay, which quarter? Next. Oh, I've already done that one. Okay, we'll give us something else. There we go. Okay. Now, add treatment. You've got to do this manually for this bit. Next. Treatment type. Antibiotic, let's say. Okay. You also got administrator here. I'm not filling it in the interest of time, but obviously it would be there for you to do. Add medicine. And then you've got a details button if you need it. Milk withdrawal period here and here. So when it comes to choosing your drug, let's say go back down again. Batch number, that's the same. In these 2 boxes here is where you will add your organic settings. So it's kind of done manually each time. Then you'll be able to view that. So if I make that something really big and something like that. Next, finish. Okay, so that's cow number 1, finished. Then you can view it. If we go to, well, dashboard would do it actually. Our milk withdrawal on the dashboard. So not in the medicine book, but on here, you can see we've got official withdrawal and we've got own withdrawal. So case in point, cow number 1. There you go, and there's your 2 different ones for milk. Okay, hope that helps with that one. Again, come back to us if you need more info. Question from Mary, could you go over how I got to the lameness analysis entry page? Certainly could, Mary, that's absolutely fine. So cowhead, health and treatments number 4, and then lameness analysis number 11 here. So very similar to the mastitis. I'm sorry, this one hasn't got anything filled in for you, but you would have your timeline graph on there, numbers of cases here, and then again the grid button at the bottom to show you the individual cows. Okay, so mastitis and lameness are very similar on that one. In fact, if I go to the grid, you can just see the headings. So cow number, date, type of lameness, and some other bits and pieces. Okay, so that's on 4.11. Right, Caroline, how do I link up with BCMS to do passports and movements? Very easily to do. So you will need to phone BCMS initially to get a 9-digit user number and a password. Once you get those from them, they usually send the password by post for security. Then you pop those into the program and we can do that for you over the phone, that's no problem. But basically, cowhead, we go to links, and then you've got CTS web services here. Send births and movements. So the animals will appear on here already, whether you've got that information in or not. So that starts as soon as you use the program. So your calves come onto here automatically, as do your movements. And then in the properties is where we add those details. So user number and a password. As soon as we've got that, you're live, good to go. And then it's just a case of checking what's about to be sent here. And you press the send button. Then it will ask you to validate. So it's a 2-stage process. And the validate is actually sending information back to BCMS just to make sure they've got it all, it's all correct. So it does the whole validation. And then you'll have a receipt number come through, so you know it's all done. Okay, but yeah, first port call, ring BCMS and ask for that information. You say you're using uniform on there. Okay. As with all of these, if it's not clear or straightforward after you've seen this presentation, by all means, give us a ring. Right, lovely. Keep them coming. John Cook, when I initially set up treatment plans, the program did not adjust the stocks after the first day. Yeah, so it depends on how far ahead you're looking. So the stocks won't go off until that day has happened in time, if you see what I mean. So if your treatment plan is for 4 days worth, and the 2nd, 3rd and 4th day, as of today, it hasn't gone out of the stock, so that might possibly be what's happened there. Stock checks, though, you can go to your medicine stock. So this is 4.8, and you'll be able to see here, well, if I bring this across a bit, you'll be able to read it better. Stock start, what you've used, corrected if you've adjusted anything. So that won't show you per day, but that is per drug. Okay. So again, come back to us if it's not behaving itself. Question from Alistair. A cow that has aborted after being confirmed in calf. How do you record this? And what definition of an abortion does the system use? Right, so there's one abortion only, really. On our, let's see if I can find it now. I've opened too many things here. I'll go back to daily events. So we go to our cow. Poor cow number 1's getting a lot done to her today. It's a pregnancy status. And okay. Status then of aborted. Okay. There you go, just checking on that one. Now you could add a comment in terms of how many days or early or late. Technically it's 155 days or less is an early from an NMR perspective, but yeah, that will change her status to aborted, so she'll become open from PD'd in calf. Okay. Another question from Wendy. What does open treatment box do on health entry? So open treatment, 2 questions actually. Mel and Angel said the same. So yeah, open treatment is unknown end, literally. So you may treat her but not know what the sort of final outcome is going to be. So she wouldn't necessarily be following a treatment plan. She'll be having a tube today and then we're going to suck it and see kind of thing. So you could just tick that open box for now and then come back to it later and finish off the course, whatever she had possibly. Okay. Wonderful. Right. So I think I've done the hands for Alfred and for Joanne. If that's not the case, do raise your hand again if you have a question. It's lovely to see so many of you as well. I'm really pleased that you've all come along today. And that looks to be it. So thank you all very much. So there'll probably be loads of other questions. You can always get hold of me, through NMR. I'll just leave the main number up again. But yeah, please do give us a shout. And also feedback, actually, if there's anything else you wanted to cover next time, I'll be happy to do more webinars like this on a particular topic. Drop me a line. That would be perfect. Thank you all very much and have a good day.